there was a Goyish king, a not Jewish king, who hated the Jewish people. And he was a tyrant, he was a terrible person. He would always be very mean to the Jews. And he always found excuses to how to make money out of them. And he would charge them taxes. And one day he came up with a clever idea. He called over the Jewish people and he made a court case and he said, I want to tell you something. You know that you owe me 10 kikar of silver. 10 kikar of silver is a lot of money. He said, I want you to pay me all this money up, like billions of dollars. He says, I want you to pay me up, and I want you to pay me up until the 13th of Adar. You know why? He says, because my great-grandfather was Haman. And Haman paid 10 kikar of silver to Achashverosh to destroy and to kill the Jewish people. But did he succeed? No. So all that money didn't end up being used for what it was meant for. And in the end, Mordechai and Esther did all their tricks, and in the end, Haman didn't succeed. All that money that he spent on destroying the Jewish people went to waste. So he says, now you have to pay me back. You have to pay me back 10 kikar of silver. So the Jewish people said, but our dear king, how are we going to pay you back 10 kikar of silver? It's so much money. We're never going to be able to pay you back. Even if we sold all our houses, all of our property, all our fields, it still won't amount to the amount that you want from us. We're not going to be able to pay you back. And he started laughing. He says, exactly. And therefore I'm going to kill you. Now I have a good reason to kill you. So he was laughing to himself. He felt so good. He says, now I'm going to kill the Jewish people, or somehow they're going to borrow money and they're going to have to actually collect all this money. I'll be a very, very rich king. And the kings, the Jewish people were so sad. They didn't know what to do. And they went to their shuls and they started to daven. They prayed to Hashem. And they davened. And eventually the word came out, and there was a great rabbi. His name was Rav Yitzchak Luria Ashkenazi. He was known otherwise as the Arizal. And the Arizal heard about the story, and the Arizal said that the Jewish people, the reason it's happening to them is because they need to do teshuvah. If they do teshuvah, Hashem is going to take them out of the mess. It must be they did something wrong, and Hashem wants to wake them up. Hashem doesn't just send trouble for no reason. So he sent a letter to the Jewish leaders in Syria, in Damascus, where this happened, and he said, I want you to know that this is all happening because you need to do teshuvah. And the Jewish people started doing teshuvah, and they fasted, and they did everything they can, and the 13th of Adar was coming closer and closer. And one night, it was a very windy night. It was so windy that the wind was picking up the trees off of the ground, and it was uprooting them. And that night, the king went to sleep, and in his dream, he found himself in the center of town. And he saw, all of a sudden, he notices where everyone's walking calmly, he sees there are 12 gallows. And he notices 11 of them are used. There are 11 people hanging. And he comes up to somebody and says, excuse me, but do you know who those people are that are hanging? Can someone here guess who those people are?
Haman and his sons.
Haman and his 10 sons. So they said, yeah, that's Haman and his 10 sons over there hanging. He says, that's my great-great-grandfather? He says, yes, that's your great-grandfather. He says, but what's that extra noose over there? Who's that for? That's for you. You deserve to be hung along with Haman because you're no different than your great-grandfather Haman. So he said, what? So he realized that people want to hang him, so he was trying to run away in his dreams. And they caught up to him, and they took a rope, and they tied it around his neck, and they started pulling him and dragging him to the gallows. And in his dream, he was screaming, please, have mercy on me. And they said, yeah, we should have mercy on you. Did you have mercy on the Jewish people when you threatened them to kill them? When you wanted so much money from them, and you knew they're not going to be able to pay you back? And that was okay? And we should have mercy on you? And they were bringing him closer and closer to the gallows, and he was screaming, please, please, what can I do to get myself out of this? They said, there's only one thing you could do. You have to take out a receipt and write on the receipt that the people already paid you 10 kikar of silver. They don't owe you any more money. The Jewish people don't owe you any more money, and you have to make a promise right now that you're not going to bother them anymore. So in this dream, he was so desperate, he took out a receipt and he started writing on the receipt, the Jewish people pay me 10 kikar of silver. And as he's writing, all of a sudden the wind came in his dream and he picked it up and he flew, and the receipt flew away. And all of a sudden, after this happened, he wakes up. And he realized it was all a dream. And he said, it was just nonsense. But you see, this is not a regular dream. When you have a dream that you're eating ice cream, it's just a silly dream that you're eating ice cream. But in this dream, you know what happened? Because he actually wrote it in his dream, it actually happened in real life. And as he was sleeping, he didn't realize he was actually writing a receipt that the Jewish people paid it back already. And that receipt, the wind came and it picked it up and it flew it out the window. And it flew all the way to Sfat, where the Arizal was. And it was blown right into the window of the Arizal. And the Arizal was praying for the Jewish people. And when the Arizal saw this receipt, he realized it was from Shamayim, it was from heaven. And he took the receipt and he sent it with a messenger all the way down to Damascus. And he told them, the people over there, hold on to the receipt, do not tell the king anything until the 13th of Adar, when he's going to come and tell you payday. Pay me up. You're going to show him the receipt and you're going to say, listen, we already paid you. We have the receipt for it. So the Jewish people were holding on to the receipt, and finally came the day where the king said, "Where's all my money? You have to pay me." And he made a big court case, and he said, "You have to come in, and if you're not going to pay me, I'm going to kill all of you." And the Jewish people came with the receipt, and they showed it to him. And he saw the stamp of the king. He saw the signature of the king. He said, "This is my signature." And he recognized the receipt from his dream. He says, "Oh, it must be, you see, the Jewish people, Hashem loves them. He takes care of them." And he remembered the promise he made in his dream, and he got scared. And he says, "I'm never going to bother the Jewish people again." And he let them go. You know what the lesson of the story is? What's the lesson of the story? Anybody? Don't mess with the Jewish people. Very good. That's simple enough. You know what else the lesson of the story is? You do teshuvah, Hashem can make anything happen for you. In an instant, Yeshuat Hashem care of Ayin, Hashem will take you out.